right, third grade. Today we're going to put together the water in our Hokusai's Great Wave artwork here. So you should have at your table glue and scissors, pencil and Sharpie, your two papers, and your wood grain paper. And the first thing we're going to do is add our water down below and our ships. So I'm going to start by drawing a couple of different ships on my wood grain paper. You can use pencil first and then go over it with Sharpie if you like. I'm just going to draw mine with Sharpie, and you can make them any size, but make them big enough that you can cut it out without too much trouble. You are welcome to make your ships as simple or as complicated as you like. I'm going to make mine look kind of three-dimensional here. So it kind of looks like you can see the inside of my ship. And I'm going to draw at least 3, but you can draw more if you have room and you would like to. All right, now after you've finished drawing your ships, we're going to go ahead and cut those out. And I want to set them to the side so that I do not lose them or get them mixed up with my neighbor's ships. So make yourself a little pile somewhere safe. And you can recycle your extra paper later. Okay, so once I get my ships cut out, I'm going to start working on my water. I need these pieces ready to go before I glue anything. So to start, I'm going to have you guys fold short ends together on your paper. Crease that there. And then open it and just tear along the crease. I'm just going to get it started, and then I'm going to kind of pull the paper. If it goes off the crease line, that is okay. It doesn't matter. And then I'm going to use one whole half of this paper and tear this into long strips. And I'm going to go across from long side to long side. So I'm going to turn my paper, and I'm just going to tear it. It doesn't have to be in any certain shape, but just kind of long, thin strips. And you can see that when I tear it, it just naturally kind of looks like water. This is why we're not cutting it. And I want to tear as many as I can from this first piece. If it does rip into a smaller piece while you're tearing it, it's no big deal. Keep all those pieces. We can use all of them. Last piece here. And you can kind of force the paper to tear in the direction you want if you just use your fingers. So now I've got a pile of my long strips. I can use some of this paper too if I need it, but I'm going to start with these at first. Now, the way that we want to glue on the water is with this white torn edge of the paper on top, if you can. Some pieces might have the white edge on both sides, but a lot of them might just have it on one. And I want to start on my horizon line and work my way down to the bottom. So what I'm going to do is glue one piece at a time, and I'm just going to put a little zigzag of glue on there. This painted paper doesn't like to lay flat, so I want enough glue. And I'm going to glue it right over the edge of the horizon line so you can't see any of the white part of my paper. And then I'm going to grab another piece, put my zigzag of glue, and then just overlap the two pieces a little bit so that none of that white paper is showing. Now, as I work my way down, I'm going to overlap the next row just a little so that, again, you cannot see the white paper. So instead of gluing it here where I've got a gap, I'm going to glue it over that first piece just a little. And every few rows, I'm going to stick a boat in. And when I glue my boat, I want to glue it kind of at the bottom of the strip so that the very bottom edge, and I'm going to scoot this up a little bit so it just peeks out. I want the very bottom edge of my boat to be hidden under the wave or the blue strip. just like that. So it looks like it's floating in the water. Then I'm going to glue my next strip. And I'm going to kind of move them around so I get different blues. And then I'm going to tuck my next boat in just underneath the edge of that strip there. Don't worry if you run out of blue paper or you have a little hole somewhere. We can always get more. And if you need to take a piece and rip it smaller to fill in a little hole like this, that is okay. We want to fill in all the white space. Everybody's paper is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to go back and fill in that little hole later since it's super tiny. All right, now I'm on my last strip and I can tell I'm going to need a little more. So I'm going to take my other half of my paper and same thing, I'm going to tear long to long side. I'm going to tear myself a few more strips. But I don't want to use all of my paper. I want to save a pretty big chunk to make my wave. So I'm going to set that aside. I've got a few more strips here. And I'm not going to recycle any of my blue paper until I'm all done today. So make sure I have enough. It's okay if it hangs off the page too. My water kind of went off the edge there. Now I'm going to take this last piece and anywhere that I have a little hole, I'm just going to patch in some little pieces so that it still looks like my ocean's all filled in. All right, now that I have all my holes filled in and I've got my ocean filled up, oh, I gotta glue my last boat here, almost forgot. And remember, you always want to tuck the bottom of your boat kind of underneath the edge of a wave. There we go. I'm going to save all my extra paper here. And I'm going to now tear what's left of my blue paper into smaller pieces. Now, I don't want them to be tiny. I don't need them itty bitty. But I am going to tear them into smaller kind of random shapes, so not perfect little strips. Tear that all up and make myself a little pile. And now I'm going to draw in my wave. I'm going to use my pencil. And I want to start all the way over on that left side so I don't cover any of Mount Fuji. And I'm going to draw sort of an S line. So I'm going to curve under and then over. And you can go all the way to the top with your wave if you want. And then when I'm going to start curving down, I'm going to stop. So it almost looks like a hill. And then I'm going to make this line curve back like a shark fin. Back and then down like a letter C. Okay, almost like a letter C. And you can kind of play with that. None of these pencil lines are going to show. So if you want to go back and make adjustments, you can. You don't even have to erase anything. So what I'm going to do to start out is kind of outline my wave and then just fill in with a little scribble. And I can always add more glue later, so don't overdo it. And it's okay if your blue papers go out of the glue line, but I'm going to just start placing my blue papers in there, almost like puzzle pieces, wherever they fit. And I want to, especially on the tip of my wave here, maybe use some really little pieces because I want to keep the shape, that pointy kind of curved hook shape. And I'm going to change up my blues so I have lots of different tints, shades, and tones of blue in my wave. Feel free to tear smaller if you need to. And if you have little edges sticking up, just add another dot of glue in there. If your papers are overlapping, and they probably will, you might have to go back and add glue to kind of lay everything down. keep adding pieces. I probably won't use all my blue paper. If you have someone at your table who's short on blue paper, when you're finished, you could definitely share. Otherwise, once you've filled in your wave and you've hit all those pencil lines, we can recycle what's left over. Now, when I think I'm done, I'm going to go back and just make sure that I've covered all the pencil lines. I don't want those showing. And also that I don't have any holes. I don't want that gold background showing. All right, so when I'm happy with my wave and it's all filled in, I can recycle the rest of my papers. I'm going to put my artwork on the drying rack, put away my materials, and next week we'll add all the rest of the details and finish it up.